Hello, lovely people, and welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and this is Evolve Chit. It's my little corner of the world where I like to talk about spirituality, metaphysical stuff, universal laws, and psychology. So I'd like to talk about a topic that was spurred on by a YouTube video that I saw this weekend. And I didn't watch the video, I just saw the title of it, and it was from a Twin Flames coach. The title is What to Do When Your Divine Masculine is Not Doing Their Inner Work. And I know when I was in the throes of my dark night of the soul that was triggered by another person, I wanted answers to questions like this. But honestly, it's really none of our business what anyone else is doing, especially this other person, because we need to be over here kind of, focusing on ourselves, right? So I know it can be difficult to hear that when we've been triggered by a person and we felt a deep connection, and this person is not interacting with us or responding to us, or there's no contact. I know that can be really hard to hear, especially because we're probably in this situation that was stirred up, intended to wake us up because of the fact that we need to know things, or we have a need to control things, or the need to control an outcome. So I'm just saying this from my personal experience. When I was navigating my stuff, my twin flame would come in and out of my life quite a bit. He was doing the energy, not him, the person, but the energy dynamic was doing exactly what it needed to be doing, and it was triggering me. Because he isn't an unkind person. In fact, he's very kind and can be very generous. He isn't abusive in any way. And in fact, he's always very protective of me. So, but when I was looking at this and how the energetic dynamic between us was really stirring up my stuff, and I got, really honest with myself about what was going on with this particular relationship and this experience and what it was showing me. And I realized that I was putting too much responsibility on this other person to make me feel better, or I guess you could say complete me. So, and this energy is kind of sneaky because I never thought I was that kind of person in general, but there was something about this energy dynamic that if you've experienced it yourself, and you can relate to this, and there's just something that's very different about it. And while there may have been, I know there have been others that came before my twin flame, but perhaps the situation was a little bit different. The energy could have been similar, but it just wasn't exactly the same. It was my twin flame that really woke me up. So as someone who's been on this path for a really long time, I tried a lot of different things, and I thought I could trick the universe or trick my soul, that I wasn't having this energy dynamic, or that I wasn't addressing the energy. I was really just addressing my mind or trying to divert those thoughts. But it's the energy is this connection's operating system. In fact, we are connected to everyone energetically, but our connection's operating system, I guess you could say, is grounded in the Zen teachings and of mindfulness. And I've been practicing this quite a bit in many areas of my life, and I can say that when I'm clear on who I am and what it is that I want to experience, and then kind of have a non-attachment to it, people and a particular person in general, or specifically experiences and things, magnetize in my life accordingly. So once I saw that, I could see that I could understand all these concepts. I was listening to a lot of content and reading a lot of things when I was really triggered on this journey. And I could understand them. I knew what they meant. I could employ them, even if it was kind of robotic. But I was having mixed results. And that was because I was trying to, trick myself. And that, sometimes my thoughts and actions got in the way. And in fact, at first, they really got in the way. It took time to not just, know the concepts, but consistently employ them. And it was with that consistency when I started to experience some shifts, even in the middle of shit storms, stuff is always going to happen in life. And it's either work or a dramatic family situation or whatever it is, or something. Those things will come up. But when you are practicing mindfulness and understanding how you respond to situations or what you need to feel comfortable and whole and good about life, otherwise you will tend to act out of ego or an egoic response. And again, that energy is like really tricky, because you're like, well, yeah, I'm a good person and I'm coming from a good place. But sometimes when you look at it, it's really just that energy is masked with some sort of expectations, or the expectation of reciprocation, or that, good things should always happen because you're a good person, or whatever that belief might be. The ego is really tricky. So it's the consistency that allows you to see your patterns. When I started getting more consistent with practicing mindfulness and paying attention to where I was feeling things in my body and what it was stirring up, I could see that, how I might have been acting or reacting to situations. So as I got more consistent, I could see the patterns and I could be a little more honest with myself about it, rather than being like, well, I am the toxic one in that situation, or that didn't go the way I thought and whatever. But that consistency was incredibly helpful. And it's, it doesn't mean perfection. There are going to be days where you're like, I didn't, do my affirmation, or I let a bad thought slip by, or we're acting petty or something. Those things are going to happen. We are human after all. But how do you catch them a little faster? So while it feels like, I've been practicing this for a really long time, I can slip into an old pattern. And but it's about, how do you get quicker at catching it? Is it about, losing a weekend to bad eating, or is it losing a month to bad eating, or something like that? So think about ways that you self-soothe, and what kind of things do you do that make you numb out. Like for me, I'm a snacker. Give me a bag of peanut M&Ms and look out, like I'll binge watch TV and I'll binge on that bag of peanut M&Ms. And some other things, like I snacked this weekend and I could feel it. Like I could feel that I didn't feel great, and it was emotional. Some of it was emotional eating. So, but I caught it and I was like, all right, it's Monday, back on the wagon, so, I caught it quickly. Now me previously, emotional eating is something that I would do. So that could happen and be in that mode for, a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year. But I felt really good about catching that. So it is about that self-awareness and being able to catch those thoughts quicker and course correct accordingly. And it all starts with getting in touch with who you are and what's important to you and what you want to experience in your life. This way, if something or someone is encroaching on your boundaries, like you have that greater self-awareness. So sometimes even that energy is sneaky. We can allow something or someone to disregard our boundaries, and even if you're a strong person, it can still happen. I've had it happen to me. I see the pattern with a specific personality type, or relationship dynamic, or like an energetic pattern with certain kinds of people. And it's not always romantic relationships either. This is where you may want to reflect upon and observe yourself in all of your relationships, but maybe just pick one or two to start. So oftentimes, like, you can see like the shadowy side of your personality or attachment style and how that shows up. and not just with a romantic partner, but key relationships like at work or how you interact with your neighbors or other people in your community. I would bet that you could see patterns or inclinations that are like the patterns of the energy with your twin flame or the person that is on your mind right now. But your twin flame is just like, the mother of all the spiritual awakenings. So they're the mirror that never goes away. So please be sure to check out the resources in the comment below, especially on mindfulness and attachment styles. It can help you work through some challenges that you may be having with your ego response. And I hope that they lead you to more resources that help you, deepen into your self-discovery. So I also recommend listening to the Twin Flames teachings on my playlist from the who I call the OG of modern twin flame coaches, Leora. So Leora's teachings are apparently the core teachings of some really popular twin flames coaches here on YouTube. So, but what I really like about Leora's ebook, which is available on Amazon, and these are the recordings of that ebook, it's not just spirituality. It is also about attachment styles, even though she doesn't call it that. But the homework exercises that are in her ebook are about self-inquiry, to understand your beliefs and see patterns in like thought patterns and behavioral patterns in your life that can allude to or perhaps lead you to greater self-awareness about your attachment style. And that is how you react and perceive things in your life. So the teachings will educate you on who you are as a being and how our subconscious minds are operating and how human programming informs our mode of existence. So, we do wear a facade or a mask and we have an approach, but is that really, who we are? So the exercises in her ebook will help you get to a greater understanding of the core of your stuff. And recognize how your energy may be pushing or pulling. And I know when I understood this, it was amazing. Like I couldn't believe just how automatic it is to have that physical sensation, like that anxiety, and how that physical feeling can inform your emotions and your thoughts. Like it is the chain reaction of it is insane when you witness it and observe it happening within you. So once you realize this, you can see where you are pushing or pulling your energy, or maybe you do both. So I could see where I can show up as both, and that was really interesting because it allowed me to get connected to what I was feeling and what it feels like, and then I could address it. So, if I was not sure of myself, I'd pull back. And in observing that, it felt like people were coming forward because that was my belief, like that I was getting pressured and people were coming at me. Or if I'm feeling anxious about something or worried, I'll overcompensate. And that could be any number of things. So I could see those patterns and how I leaned into it or out of it. Or pushed on it or pulled away. So, it was, just incredibly helpful to see that for what it was. And then you can also use that opportunity when in that moment, when you're feeling your energy push or pull, if you're able to just be like, it's just my emotions. It's just that old, trauma coming up to be reminded of. If you're able to do that, that's awesome. And sometimes I can do that too. I'll just be like, that's old stuff. I don't need to go there. Like, yeah, it's stressful, or yeah, I'm sad or whatever, but that's just old stuff. I can work through this. But if, you are one of those people that you need to talk through it or go through some self-inquiry and reasoning, be sure you talk to the appropriate professional for that, or if you have a trusted friend or acquaintance that you can work through it with. Just sometimes it helps having an objective point of view. So this type of approach is parenting yourself. So you're kind of assessing what your need is and how best to approach it. And hopefully in more healthy ways rather than me eating a bag of peanut M&Ms over the weekend. But what can we do in healthier ways that get us to a more desired outcome? So if you're, feeling stressed, or, you can feel yourself energetically, pushing towards something or someone, or if you're feeling stressed about something, you may find that you're pulling away from a situation or a person. So this is really the importance of, practicing mindfulness, even if it's just a few minutes, a couple times a day. It allows you to have some stillness without your phone on, or, looking at something, or, on your computer, or having to respond to another person. If there's a way in which you can carve out just a few minutes, a few times a day, just to connect to that stillness within you, so you remember who you are. And it's just like, okay, the rest of this is a script or a program, and I'm just, kind of doing my thing, but this is who I am, and you're connected to that. So this allows you to see where your energy is and how you may be pushing or pulling. So pausing like this will allow you to get to the root of the feeling or thought, and you can determine what you need to do to resolve it. So is it a real thing that you need to handle, or can you root it back to, maybe some belief that you have that isn't true, or is no longer true? So give yourself some space, and also give yourself some grace. And then when you're in that, in that good headspace, and you've kind of explored what's going on within you, you could, write yourself an approach, or, a recipe, or, on what you're going to do to navigate it. And when that feeling comes up, what can you do to move through it? When you recognize that pattern, it's just a thought from an old belief. And then, the parenting side of this is then we're holding ourselves accountable to it. So, and then show up for yourself, for that commitment to yourself. And this is going to help you self-soothe, which can help build your self-awareness and your self-confidence, your self-respect, and resilience. And it's really powerful. And when you get to this place, it's amazing what you realize is really important to you, and what you value, and what you'd like to experience more of or less of. And you begin to magnetize those things into your life accordingly. So this feels like a good place to wrap up this video. And this is a reminder that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are necessary, and you are really freaking needed right now. So step into your power. And until next time, I'm sending you lots of love and good vibes for your journey. Bye.